It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. What a day it's been so far, huh?
Yeah,
Man,
crazy.
I'm telling you. I was just looking here, just going through the news at the top of the hour, different websites. And I got here to Fox where it says, Biden says Speaker Johnson is dead on arrival in response to proposed radical SCOTUS changes. I don't think the SCOTUS changes would be at all on the top of the news for Fox News if it wasn't for Biden saying that Speaker Johnson is dead on arrival.
Yeah, which
he said twice.
Bizarre. Yeah.
He said twice. He said it twice because they were saying, what do you think about, they were asking Biden, what do you think about Speaker Johnson saying that bill would be dead on arrival?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, he's dead on arrival. Well, what'd you say? He's dead on arrival. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It was just bizarre. But I don't think anybody, there was a lead up to that. Then it hit. And it was, through the morning. Then I started seeing it dying throughout the afternoon.
Yeah.
And really what picked up on was the coverage, the bizarre coverage as we've been talking about women for Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
White women for Harris.
Yes.
And then white dudes for Harris.
Right.
And that just, something like that is so, it's so incredibly racist. And when you hear the things that they were saying, so incredibly bluntly racist, I hope that the Republican Party takes advantage of it and says, this is what identity politics lead to you.
Yeah.
Here's where the racism is.
Yeah.
It's been pointed out already. You and I were looking at Mary Catherine Ham, who, Fox News contributor, who was covering that and played a lot of the audio that we played today of the white women and said the exact same thing we've said, the racism that exists in there.
Yeah.
The racism, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it.
No.
They have no idea, but that by saying, well, for anybody who's black, indigenous, or people of color, they can say whatever they want, and we should never correct them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you only do that to people you don't respect or you don't believe have the capability to debate back with you.
Right.
It's the biggest insult that blacks and other minorities do not have the brain power. My God, it's so damn racist. Do not have the brain power to respond to you, or because of what's happened in history, there's such emotional basket cases for things that happened 150 years ago that they don't have the capability of responding. The blatant racism, Eric, is just something that you and I have talked about identity politics. We've talked about it a lot for the last week and a half because it's come up again, and we've just said, Republicans have never taken advantage of it, the bluntness of identity politics in the Democratic Party where racism is institutionalized and systemic.
It is so blatant and over the top now that they really can't help themselves. I think to myself, if your mindset is this, and you listen to the audio that we played this morning, and that's where you live, that's where your mind is, and that's how you think, there's no way to change that. That's who you are fundamentally. And there's no way to reverse it.
Yeah. For the life of me, I never thought I'd see racism, number one, sold as a positive thing and a gentle thing, because we're going to talk to you about our racism, but in a childlike manner. That's the bizarre. That's the, you want weird, that's weird.
Well, again, they talk like children and they believe you're stupid, so they're talking to you like a child.
Right. About how racism is good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, just unbelievable.
Weird.
God, it really
is bizarre.
I was reading, this is National Review. Is it Blahar or Blar? I don't know how
I've heard it Blair.
Jeffrey Blair. And his
I could be wrong about that, but I've heard Blair before.
That's mighty white of you Democrats. Mm-hmm. That's the headline. and it says it's well known that that Harris, as well as the Democratic Party, are largely currently suffering in the polls with the despised demographic of white men.
Yeah.
And despite the delirious jubilation of the present moment, everybody on the left is still worried about this because they can read an electoral map. Some even wistfully theorize about superior replacement forms of Kamala-friendly masculinity to take place of the version currently prevalent among the great honky unwashed.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez. Thus, the existence of white dudes for Harris. A space of trust where white dudes can support each other and work to elect Kamala Harris to the next president of the United States. Founder Russ Morales said that, quote, as white men, we recognize all too clearly the culture of toxic entitlement surrounding Donald Trump. We need to be honest with ourselves and each other about the role we've played in our nation's history, good or bad. We're creating a space of honesty and trust where we can support each other and work for a new, brighter future. No, you're not. You're lying through your teeth, and you're throwing out the victim mentality. In fact, the one audio cut we just played last hour was a white guy talking about how he's been victimized by the economy.
Exactly.
Oh, my God, it's just, oh. Harris campaign is sending notable white man Pete Buttigieg
Notable white man.
as their campaign ambassador to a big online Zoom meeting scheduled to rally the troops tonight. Well, if you can't trust a McKinsey consultant, whom can you trust?
Yeah.
And a late edition, it was announced Sunday night that they're adding another big gun, Mark Hamill.
Oh, right.
A man every bit as relevant to the current national discourse as the husk of the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
I want to be careful to do justice not only to how agonizingly cringe this is, but also how deeply stupid it is as well. These people feel like, in the words of Freddie DeBoer, that they're running the president online again. It's 2016 all over again, only more so, and there are no new tricks to the Democratic quiver. Vote for Kamala because girl power. Vote for Kamala because white men need to soberly reckon with their privilege. Vote for Kamala because Beyonce has allowed her to use a song as a theme music.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Post memes online. Get on Twitter, and the votes will naturally follow. It's a formula for failure and seemingly the only response the left reflexively reaches when presented with a candidate that tickles all their deeply rooted youth and diversity erogenous zones.
Oh,
wow. By way of proof, this sort of condescending, guilt-based racial appeal is by no means limited to just white men. Believe me, you don't want to know what kinds of humiliation Karens for Kamala has inflicted upon itself this week. And we played most of it for you here during the show today.
Yeah.
I mean, just it is just wow. It's racist and it's stupid.
And yet, are they on another planet? Do they not see this coming right back at them?
No, they're so into, I always go back to Bernard Goldberg that said when he first wrote the book Bias. And he said they don't think of themselves as liberal. They think of themselves as right. They think there's a left, there's a right, and then we're up here, and we are the elite, and we know what's right.
Yeah.
And he goes, they don't think of themselves right or left. And he said it's really amazing to watch. He goes, and they're so involved. They're so involved and insulated in their own bubble that they don't even know how regular people think.
Well, and they also are delusional. I mean, the evidence we have pointed out over and over again, and so it was always going to get to this.
Yeah.
it was always going to become more and more bizarre. Because there's only so much. The official surrogates, well, that's one thing. But then when you have these other groups that are coming out, these other surrogate groups that come out, when you're a radical, then it's only going to be radicals in that group of surrogates. There's no way around that. And yeah, this is how they think. This is who they are. It really comes off as a really horrible comedy skit. Everything that we have played, all the audio that we have played is right out of some SNL, really bizarre SNL episode.
They were serious, and it was better than anything. And this is no insult to the Babylon Bee, but they did stuff that was better. It was a better parody of themselves than the Babylon Bee could do.
And they really become a parody of themselves. They really have.
That's you're right.
That's exactly what they have become. Because at some point you get so bizarre and so wrapped up in yourself. This is a problem that I've had. The advent of social media really brought this on, but now it's just over the top of people that just insist on making that everything about them. Every situation is about them. And you see it. I mean, the so-called influencers, they'll get on there and then, well, it's all about, basically they turn everything into how it's affecting them. And I think to myself, I don't know how long that can go before the burnout is really complete.
Well, when one of your lead speakers is an influencer named Mrs. Frazzled,
yeah,
you have trouble.
This is the best they've got. This is the most energy the campaign has had so far. Think about that. If you're starting in this regard, if this is going on, if this is the energy at the beginning, and the so-called honeymoon's not even over yet, and where does it go from here?
Well, a good warning of politics is if the opposition takes everything that you're using as a marketing ploy and throws it back in your face, and it goes viral with the opposition, it's not a benefit to your cause.
Yeah.
And that's where they find themselves.
And JD Vance is weird.
Yeah.
They say JD Vance is weird. Someone wrote to me and said, "This is the weirdest show you've ever done." And she's right. Because of the audio we're playing. It's so weird.
Yeah, we're weird today.
No,
we're not weird. We're
covering weird people.
We're covering weird people, right. We're having normal reactions to weird people.
It's just...
Did you say it as a compliment or an insult?
No, I think it was more of a compliment.
Oh, okay, or a matter of fact.
And thank you, Linda. But it is, but it's, it's because of the audio. And it is bizarre.
Well, we have more audio coming up.
Well, listen, Election Day isn't until November 5th.
Can we hear? I want a request from Democrats. I want to hear statements, audio. I want audio every single day, videos, audio, whatever, of white women for Harris and white dudes for Harris every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to be entertained.
Yeah.
Because while we're on the path to Doom Nation,
oh, we're so doomed.
I wish to be entertained down that path. 866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
In general, people who live in areas with trees and green space live healthier, happier lives than those who don't. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, very enthusiastic. Yes, from Michelle Kondo, a social scientist with the Forest Service. She says studies of millions of people around the world confirm
People live longer when they live in greener environments.
could be an emotional or mental thing at work here. Michelle did a study lending weight to that theory.
We measured people's moods, emotions. We sort of tracked their location throughout their day, and they would receive little pop-up messages on their phones to answer our very brief survey about their mood or emotions.
And the results, when people were near or around trees and such,
Positive emotions were improved and negative emotions decreased.
Michelle did another study showing people's heart rates slowing down when in or near trees and greenery, proving without going out on a limb that trees are good for us, right, Michelle?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866 90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So, what they had to do at White Dudes for Harris from last night, in order to soften the racism, they brought on Jeff Bridges, actor Jeff Bridges, known as the Dude.
Yeah.
So here we go.
All right.
I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris.
Over the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about men.
I'm not sure if you guys can recall that feeling you had on the night of Tuesday, November 8th, 2016. I stood over my kid's bed and I wept.
White nationalists in MAGA, they want to speak for you specifically as white men.
In the marginalized communities that educate me every single day, that this is a constant education for all of us.
Kamala is carrying on her shoulders 248 years of pain, of agony, of hope, of frustration. And no matter how high she jumps, no matter how many degrees she has, no matter how good her grades are, she's never good enough because they're always moving the line.
What a variety of whiteness we have here, with like a rainbow.
All right.
A variety of whiteness?
I played the wrong audio cut, but I kept it going. That was a number of the people there. Here's the Jeff Bridges. Okay,
right.
Here we go.
I can't hear myself, but that's okay.
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. So great to be here, Ross. I gotta laugh because I accepted the invitation. I was brought to the party not so much as being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm a dude, So a friend sent me this email today with your hat on there, and I said, "Oh, I gotta have one of those. I qualify, man. I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris." So wonderful to be here, and I dug what you said, Maurice. That's really, terrific. The fact that you're here, you're a black man here with us white guys.
My God. Look, to me, he's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
Jeff Bridges, great actor. Just great actor. He's able to pull great emotion from you in many of the roles that he has done. We know he's got, cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He got that a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he doesn't even know. You can tell he doesn't even know where to go. Great to have a black guy with the white guys, and I'm white, and it's just like, it's so cringeworthy. I actually feel sorry for him. I felt sorry for him when he was doing it.
Well, again, you have to ask yourself, where is it going?
Yeah, where does it go?
What do you hope to get out of it?
I got to play this little cut again here. Here we go. Ready?
What a variety of whiteness we have here, with like a rainbow.
Huh? What? A rainbow of whiteness? What?
What?
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
Red Eye Radio, he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, with what's happened in Venezuela the other day, just reading this headline from the Washington Post, Biden made a bold deal with Venezuela's strongman. Will it pay off? The United States suspended crippling sanctions on the authoritarian government of Nicolas Maduro in exchange for Maduro's promise of free and fair elections.
Yeah.
Give us your oil, we'll make a deal. Give us your oil, you give us free and fair elections. Did that happen?
Nope.
Nope. Did you see one of the problems in the state of Texas is the oil lines where the oil actually is transported, 90% full. Now they're worried about that they can't send as much. By the way, that's something that if I was Trump, I'd talk about.
Right.
We're producing so much oil where the Democrats can't get their hands on it that the lines are as full as we can be. We need a national. We need a national, not government money, but we need a national goal and a national effort with the cooperation of the federal government and states to produce as much oil and natural gas as we possibly can.
This needs to be a long-term policy of the United States. It's going to require the president, if Trump wins, to do it, and it's also going to require his party to get on board. I don't know how many Democrats in the Senate you could convince. I think you might have a few if they get to 53 or 54 seats, and that's a huge if. And there is every reason in the world to have a long-term oil and natural gas production plan. If the private sector comes up with wind and solar and infrastructure and EVs and everything on their own, and the buying public decides they literally are going to buy into it, then we'll know. We'll all be in line for it. But the government mandates have to end, and the policy should be to go after everything that we've got right now to expand. It's the only way we're going to get the buying power back for the American people. We're not going to get prices to come back down to where they were. That's not going to happen. Inflation coming down to the target rate of 2%, by the way, is the best you can get, and that is every year those prices going up from where they are now at 2%. That's the best case scenario. So we're not going to get back down to lower prices, back to where we were several years ago. That won't happen. The only way to get the buying power back for the American people is the expansion of wealth, and you do that through mining, primarily oil and natural gas, and you also do that through the expansion wealth of innovation. It's going to have to be massive leaps in innovation, and all of that requires the government to get out of the way. And there's no way around that. No way around that.
And that's not going to happen currently with Democrats in power.
It is not. And don't, as you mentioned, there is no flip-flop on her wanting to ban, Kamala Harris wanting to ban fracking. She is for banning fracking. They want to ban all of it. The Democrats used to be the party, they could claim at one point they were the party of manufacturing. They are not. In order to have a solid manufacturing base, we need two big things: the people to get it done. We also need the plentiful and cheap energy to get it done.
One of the biggest stories out there yesterday, I think, was the New York Times and the article that they wrote, and the coverage of the article that they wrote, that the trove of Kamala Harris videos touting progressive policy imperils the campaign. And this is the reality of any type of campaign, not the hype and hoopla. Because over the last 9 days, you might have said, well, this is really weird. It seems like there's this groundswell, but it's not a groundswell of people that are supporting Kamala Harris. What it is, it's the media. This is all media driven and politically driven by the Biden-Harris campaign, which became the Harris campaign. But it's all driven there. This is really incredible because it's not that she has said anything prolific. It's not that she came out and came up with new plans or said, this is something that I have here. In fact, she has been considered even by the leftist media one of the worst vice presidents ever.
Mm.
And we played all the audio over the last couple of years on that.
Mm-hmm.
And magically, boom, all of a sudden she's on the front page of, of a major magazine, if there's any such thing as a major magazine anymore, with Camelot, as we're going back to Camelot, like the Kennedys, as if that relates to anybody who's young these days. They have no idea what that meant. But New York Times reports that Vice President Kamala Harris's advocacy of far-left policies could imperil her 2024 bid. Why? The audio cuts that exist. You can't get away from the audio that exists. It's already being used. Immediately was being used by the Republicans. It's been used for the last week. I just wish I lived in one of the battleground states, just for the fact that I would like to hear. I want to stay in Texas, by the way, just because I would like to see what it's like to be in a battleground state and see these commercials everywhere you go and see how they affect. We talk about the fact that it looks like most of the battleground states are still Trump.
Yeah.
And it seems like if there's any difference, it would be in the national polling, by a point or two, even though Trump leads in most of the polls there. So one wonders if these ads being pounded in the battleground states is what's having that effect, where he's keeping the battleground states, but there may be a little bit of a loss on a national level because we're not seeing them here in Texas, for example.
Right.
Now, we played the audio for you, the actual commercials that are out there. Well, a few of them, probably 3, I believe, of the commercials over the last week that are out there of Kamala Harris in her own words. And they're bad. They're great commercials, but they're bad for her campaign because where she stands on the issues is where roughly 60 to 70% of the people disagree.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge problem. And then we get to today where really, the Supreme Court thing, maybe it was me, but I viewed that as just in the Beltway. It was a big topic. Nowhere else anybody cared. It was like nobody cared. It was out there in the morning. By the time you got to the afternoon, it was the mockery on the social media for white women for Harris. And then as we got into last night and then today, it's going to be massive mockery from Republicans on white dudes for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And you're going to have conservative media just pouring over this with how racist it is, with the things that were said over the last couple of days. Just looking at this column, Kristen Fleming in the New York Post. Celeb-led white women for Kamala is cringe city. Just when I thought the racialized madness of 2020 was floating away, that it had been destroyed by reason and sanity, well, it's back. And on Zoom, no less, the medium of choice for the crazy COVID era. With a woman of color on the Democratic ticket, progressives have fallen back on their worst instincts, performative allyship, and race essentialism, politics by segregation. Last week, Moms Demand Action founder Shannon Watts organized a massive Zoom meeting. White women answer the call for Kamala Harris. On the call, which drew over 200,000 participants, reportedly raised $2 million, and has been dubbed the largest Zoom in history, Watts declared, with great humility, of course, "White women, we have 100 days to help save the world."
Dun, da, da.
Dancer Cleavon Little from Blazing Saddles, where are the white women? They're saving the world.
Wow.
And then she writes, I thought white saviors were bad. Hey, on the plus side, the left suddenly knows what a woman is again. Wow. Author Glennon Doyle lectured. The singer Pink was there. The White Lotus actress Connie Britton spoke, jokingly calling herself and the others Karens for Kamala.
Yeah.
In other words, gazillionaire elites with the luxury of telling other women ones who may be worried about paying their grocery bills, that they should cede their personal interests in favor of intersectionality, or as we call it, identity politics racism.
I mean, think about it. We've been anointed to save the world. We white women are going to save the world.
Then I love this one. Then there was influencer Ariel Foder, who has 1.3 million followers on TikTok, where she's known as Mrs. Frazzled. Okay. She speaks like a mid-level marketing mama on the verge of being invited to the annual conference if she can only enlist 5 more eager wine moms to her vitamin-selling team. She was introduced to someone here to help gentle parent us through this election. Perhaps because I'm personally familiar with wooden spoon parroting, this came off as incredibly infantilizing, but hey, maybe it's just this white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. BIPOC women, that's black, indigenous, and people of color women, have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and to get involved in the election season. Thank you, biopic women, for allowing your white proxy to give us other white chicks explicit permission to exercise our rights as Americans. Fodder outlined ways to use white privilege to make positive changes, chief among them, shut up. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid correcting them, just take a beat, and instead we can just put our listening ears on. Oh, the soft bigotry. Why do they call it soft bigotry? I mean, it's not.
No, it's blatant bigotry.
It's blatant bigotry. It's blatant racism. It's identity politics. It was absolutely clear. And Republicans, you're idiots if you don't start taking advantage of this, because the blunt bigotry, the blunt racism through identity politics of the Democratic Party has been around now really for 35 years, the modern identity politics movement, and you've done nothing to attack it. You never, ever, Republicans, ever need to be on the defensive about race. The Democrats have made it clear, we are here, we are proud racists, deal with it.
Yep.
And it's frustrating that the Republican Party doesn't seem to see this as being handed to them on a silver platter.
Every single day.
Every single day.
I don't know of a day where they're not.
I've never seen a political party so bluntly and blatantly every day want to let the country know and the world know, hey, we're the racists.
Yeah.
But we're nice racists, and we're racist for the right reasons.
Yeah. We're the racists that care.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, that's what they're trying to say. That's the point they're trying to get across.
I like that. Let's use that from now on. We're Democrats. We're the racists that
We're
care.
the racists that care. But that's the entire premise of it. Okay, we're going to, everybody, all right, the white women are here. We're going to fix everything. Wow. We're not racist or anything. It's just we're all white and we're the answer. We've been anointed. We've been given the power to fix everything.
So is that it, or are you going to shut up? We don't know what you're going to do. We still don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're not going to talk to you. That's basically what they're saying. Hey, don't speak to people of color. I mean, everything they do gets more and more cringe the more you think about it.
I know.
It's really horrible.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
Red Eye Radio, he's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Later on today on Zoom, Tabbies for Harris.
Yeah?
Yes, cats.
All right.
Tabby cats for Harris.
Okay. It's a rainbow of white people. What?
That was the best one.
It's a
Look at all the
rainbow of white. It's look at all the different shades of white people
here. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
We'd like to thank all the dull white people and all the alabaster-skinned people here today. We appreciate you all being here and bringing together your different white experiences, your slightly different toned experiences here as we gather as white people to discuss white supremacy and how to stop it.
Y'all said legalize it, and this is what happened.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.